All right, how's everyone doing? We are live, at least we should be. I'm going to give it a minute, just make sure everyone can hear me, all that good stuff. Can everyone hear me okay? Audio sounding good? Let me know. All right, cool. So, welcome everyone. We're having some fun today. So, what we're doing, in case you've been out of loop, is we are going to be talking about the Coastin border road trip that we just got back from. So, we had a ton of fun. We hit so many parks all up. We went down through Atlanta and hit Six Flags Over Georgia, up through Ohio, Kings Island, Cedar Point. We had an awesome time at Hollywood Nights, and that was in Indiana. And then we moved our way up into Canada. That's where the border part comes in. We didn't go through Mexico. This is the northern border of just America, and so we did Canada's Wonderland, La Ronde, even threw in some Marineland in there, and then we went straight down, did Pennsylvania, all of those awesome parks, and um, and then we ended out with New England and everything. So what we're doing is we are going to be going through all the parks. We're going to be talking about our favorite rides, just our experience and everything, and so then we're going to get to questions, talk about all that good stuff, and following that, we'll just be sharing stories. You know, there was a lot that went on. So I actually got back from this about 2 weeks ago. So the reason why we're just now getting to it is because of all of the vlogs we were getting through there. Because I didn't want to stream until everyone had seen the vlogs, everyone had seen all the parks. Because not everyone follows on social media. And so for that reason, some people didn't even know we were hitting some of these parks. So that's why we did this. So let's just go down the list. So we started off with, we went to Six Flags Great Adventure. What's fun about this is we actually did this park twice. So we went up there, and so for those of you who don't know, I'm in Virginia. That's where I'm based off of. And so Kings Bay is my home park. And I've been to Great Adventure before, so starting off with like a really good park. But the thing with Great Adventure is, in order to get there from where I'm at, we have to drive up through DC, Baltimore, and then Philly. So the problem comes there that traffic is absolutely insane. So when that happens, what should be like a 4.5 hour drive to Six Flags Great Adventure actually ended up becoming like a 7 hour drive. So we were starting things off. We left at like, oh, I swear it was probably like 3 or 4 in the morning, and then we drove up and we got to Great Adventure at like noon. So like it took us all that time to get there, but we picked this absolutely perfect day. If you go back, you check out the footage that we shot. What you can see is that there's all this fog, and it was so crazy. This is legit some of the coolest. This is probably the best Great Adventure visit we had. So we get there, and like it was the reason why we were hesitant about even going at first was because it was showing a forecast of rain, and so we were like, well, we don't want to drive 7 hours and then get there and it sucks, and so and nothing's open. So we get there and it is absolutely deserted. It was so dead. Like it was fantastic. So we got to check out. I rode the Joker there. That was my first time on it because last time I was there it was under construction, not open, and then we were able to just hit everything. Like when I say everything, I mean this was a Thursday before Memorial Day. So keep that in mind that we were thinking, oh my gosh, it's going to be packed. This is Memorial Day weekend. But what was crazy was every park that we went to was absolutely dead, at least for a Memorial Day weekend. It was because I think at every park it was showing a chance of rain, and then it didn't end up raining while we were actually at the parks. Well, except for over Georgia, but we'll get to that. So it was just this absolutely amazing day at Six Flags Great Adventure. And by far the highlight was doing King Ka in the fog because what happens when you get to King Ka, say the fog is at like this 200-foot level, you get up to about 450 feet, which is King Ka, and you just have to, like, you are entering fog, you can't see anything. So it was so crazy. It was the craziest ride that we've had on. Like what we figured out, a lot of people argue about. Okay, well, King Dakar and Top Flow Dragster are always being argued about for what is the better park, and so or what is the better ride. But what we figured out is that we like Top Flow Dragster better. If it's in any other seat other than the front, King Dakar in the front row, like super smooth. But if you try any other row, then it's gonna be rough and shaky, especially with the launch and everything. So as much as the over-the-shoulder restraints aren't great, King Dakar in the front row, super good, especially when you are flying up through the fog. And actually, I see a lot of people in the chat room, a lot of people having fun. We're gonna get to questions a bit later in it, so just kind of sit back, relax. We're gonna go through all the parks. If you're just now joining, we're gonna get to all the parks that we're going through, and then we'll really get to kind of questions on everything. And again, we're just sticking it to all the parks we went to. So if you guys are asking about like Six Flags Magic Mountain, sorry about that. That wasn't on this trip. So let's try and keep it on subject. Actually, I see people a lot of people commenting. Just note that we do have some moderators in the chat room. So we have Alec. Yeah, we found him. Yeah, so Alec is in the chat room. He is Kistery, and he will be monitoring it, as well as we have Tanner in the chat room. Lucas, he's Ohio Colts. He's in the chat room. And then Adam, who was also on this trip, will be joining us in a bit for the chat room. So we're going to have everyone moderating. So keep it nice, keep it clean, and if you act up or anything, they will ban you. So they're completely in control. I'm letting them roll with it. So but again, just play nice with everyone. And so what was fun was if you watched all the vlogs, it was me on this road trip, and then we had Alec, Adam, and then Marcus joined us for later, and so it was just 4 teenagers, and we're all college kids, and we just go around to all these parks. And so the reason why it was just so much fun was because of the people we were with, the people we were hanging out with. And so like if you get a chance to do something like this, I totally recommend it. So let's get back to this. So we talked about Great Adventure. What was cool was we got to go back to Great Adventure because Great Adventure is just that much fun. So might as well hit it twice. But later after that we went and we did King's Dominion because you have Adam. He's from Kansas, and so he has never been to like that part, and so we wanted to do King's Dominion. I didn't shoot a vlog there because it's King's Dominion. Most everyone has seen the King's Dominion vlogs that I do, and so for that reason, we just kind of had a chill day, which was super fun. And then we went down to Carowinds, and like I hadn't been back to Carowinds since opening day 2016 or something, so it'd been over a year. And so I was super excited to go back there, and we picked the perfect day to go there. King's Dominion, Carowinds that day the lines were so manageable. It was a beautiful day out. Weather was perfect. We had blue skies, and it was just absolutely fantastic. We were able to ride so many, every major ride, get some awesome footage, and what was so great was there were a lot of enthusiasts there. Like, I mean, what was so much fun, again, if you got a chance to come out and meet me at some of these parks, the best part about going to all these parks, like the roller coasters are great, but meeting the people. I mean, all of the enthusiasts that came out there, it was absolutely fantastic. So we were just hanging out with everyone. We had, if you guys watch Ohio Valley Coasters, we had Chad over there at Carowinds with us, and actually they were hanging out with us at some later parks, but that was the first stop. And so we get down to Carowinds, and what was fun was we weren't originally planning on getting a hotel in Charlotte. We were going to go straight down from Carowinds that morning, which I'm about 4.5 hours from Carowinds. So if we're trying to get there at opening, not ideal, but and then we were going to go down to Atlanta that night. But what we realized was that Chad and everyone at Ohio Valley Coasters, they all had a hotel booked, and a hotel is typically 4 people per room. Well, what happened was we decided to go down there the night before after King's Dominion because we were able to get to everything, and so because we didn't want to drive up early to Carowinds that morning and then go on to Atlanta, and so what we did was we drove down that night. So we're getting to a hotel at 2 2 in the morning, and this was a great story because this is an example of how bad things can go wrong. So we get down to Carowinds, and so we're going to be crashing Chad's room, and we have Tanner in there again. He's in the chat room. He was there. We had some other guys, and so they're all staying in this hotel room, and they say, okay, you can spend the night in our hotel room. Just you'll be able to find, because we were getting there like 2 in the morning, so they were going to be asleep. So they said, okay, leave. We're going to leave the room key on the tire of our car. So we had to get there, and we're like, what could possibly go wrong? So we get to the parking lot, and we're like, oh, please let the key be there. Please let the key be on top of the car. And it was. And so we were able to get the key to the room. And so we're like, oh, great. Thank goodness that the key was there. That could have been so bad. And so we then go find the room, try the key, and it doesn't work. And so here we are. We're in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's 2 in the morning. We're at a hotel. Our friends are in this room behind a locked door. They're all asleep, and we can't get into the hotel room. And so we're like, what do we do? Do we knock? They're all asleep, or do we try like? Do we think they gave them the wrong room? So we're like checking other rooms. The key isn't working. Anything, and so. We're like, oh crap, what are we gonna do? So finally, we're just knocking on the door like crazy. We wake them up. They're all like, what are you doing? It's like the 2 a.m. like tired, dazed, and confused face as we're like standing at the door with all our luggage. And so because there were already 4 people in the room, we're about to add 3 more. So now there's 7 people in a 4-people room. And so there's already not beds for us. So like we're crashing on the floor. We brought a blow-up air mattress. And so keep in mind, they're all trying to sleep. So we're in a pitch dark room trying to blow up an air mattress. So we're still like, oh, I hope it's quiet. And it is the loudest air pump ever. And so it is inflating this thing so loud, and so it just blows up this massive air mattress, and it's being like incredibly loud, and so we're like laughing our heads off because we're so tired. We just drove 4.5 hours, and so we finally get the air mattress blown up, and then we try and put it on the floor, and the room is so small it doesn't even fit on the floor because it's so big. And so keep in mind, it's now like 3 a.m. We just woke everyone up so that we could get into the hotel room because the key didn't work. We're blowing up an air mattress because there are 4 people in this room, and we just added 3 more, and so now there's 7 coaster nerds, like, all because we just want to go to Carowinds the next morning. It was just the funniest situation. It was so bad, but it was fun, like, just being there. It was one of those moments where just, like, you realize how ridiculous the situation is. So, that was one of our funny hotel moments, and actually we have a few more coming up. So, anyways, so we do Carowinds, and it was so great. I mean, we were able to get on Fury several times, Intimidator, Afterburn, and actually the day we were there, this was the day before Memorial Day, and actually if you guys listen to Coastal Radio, they were having a meetup that day, and so we got to go chat with those guys, a lot of enthusiasts. That podcast tends to get some of an older audience. And so, so Alec reminds me, getting back to the hotel room real quick. So Alec is on the air mattress, and we didn't have a blanket for him. And so he goes, and he was freezing because the AC was so loud. So he runs into the bathroom and grabs the shower curtain and is sleeping with the shower curtain through the night, and it was so funny. So again, the hotel room was just that was a funny night. Yeah. Anyway, so the Coastal Radio guys were there. Met Mike and EB. They were super nice. They were chill. It was just a bunch of enthusiasts hanging out at Carowinds. And so we leave right as there's this beautiful sunset. If you go back and watch the Carowinds Memorial Day video, you'd see I got this some awesome sunset shots. And then right as we're leaving, pours down rain. And it was so bad. Like, it was this massive thunderstorm. So it was really, it was just bad. But it was great that we missed it. So we're like, oh man, that's so awesome that we missed the rain and the thunderstorms. Hopefully it'll be like that again, but then Six Flags Over Georgia the next day. And if you saw the vlog, it's us running through the rain because we got rained out of Six Flags Over Georgia, and it was absolutely pouring. It was so bad. So let's talk about Six Flags Over Georgia, right? So this is a cool park because one, we'd never been there before. Two, this is where I'd be hitting my 300th roller coaster, and then also we just had a lot of enthusiasts there, and everyone telling me to get there. And actually, hey, I'd like to give a quick shout out. We got Dakota, the coaster parody narrator, in the chat room. He's at Deca Films. Everyone go say hi to Dakota. Which parodies will be back later this month. So we'll get there. But let's get back. So we have Six Flags Over Georgia. And so we get there in the morning, and if you saw the vlog, I had to get to a few other roller coasters before I want to make Goliath my 300th. And so what happened is I had to ride about 2 or 3 roller coasters before Goliath, and so we were going to have a meetup at Goliath for my 300th, and so we were like trying to time it out perfectly, and so we get on it. It was fun and everything. The bad part was we were only able to get on Goliath once, so I've only ridden my 300th coaster one time because of all the rain that came down. So that was kind of a bad situation. And if you heard, I missed out on Georgia Scorcher, so that was one of the coasters from this road trip that I got kind of spited out of. The other main ones being at La Ronde. So didn't get on that, and so what happens is we are hitting all the coasters and everything, and then they have a weather delay as we're about to get on Georgia Scorcher, and so they close and we're like, okay, well, we're looking around, there's no rain or thunderstorms or anything, so we're like, well, that's dumb, but they still have a few rides open. It's just like some of the larger coasters, and so we go over, we do Monster Mansion. And Monster Mansion, this is the weirdest boat ride ever. So like we all climb into this boat, which by the way is 3 people across, which was kind of weird. And so we're getting in this boat, and like if you haven't ridden this before, the boat is like very much dependent on weight. So we're all getting in, and the boat is very heavy on this side, so the boat just starts tipping over, and so we're all like scrambling, like putting our weight on this side, and then it starts going the other way, and it was so funny. This dark ride is so bizarre. It is the weirdest boat ride. So so we did that, and then by the time it goes, that really at this point everything is shut down. It's starting to drizzle, and we're like, this is ridiculous. It's not even raining that hard, and then this massive thunder booms, and it just starts pouring. So we run for cover at this place, and everyone is booking it. So again, go watch this footage, because towards the end you just see all this rain coming out. It was absolutely pouring. It was so bad. So we're standing outside. We're just watching all these people. There's the pathways to Six Flags Over Georgia are on a slant. So what happened was it started forming a river, kind of going downhill. So you have a trash can here, and the rain starts coming down. So the trash can starts sliding down on this river, and so all this stuff is happening. We're watching this all, and there was like a dude. He had like a umbrella hat on his head. It was really funny, and so we're all watching this go down, and it was just the funniest thing. So we realized that the rain isn't going to stop anytime soon, and we had to get. The good thing is that we didn't have a hotel in Georgia that night, so we were gonna go drive down to Pigeon Forge anyways. And so we said, let's just leave Six Flags Over Georgia now, because if we stay any longer, then it's going to be pointless. Like they're going to close the park early. They're going to have everything. They have everything closed down. It's not going to let up anytime soon. And so we're like, let's just go. And so we also realized we left the windows down, so that was bad news. So it's pouring down rain. So we are booking it through the park. That's where that vlog came in. And if you guys caught on the "Where's Alec" joke, that's one of the things where I kind of started, because we lost Alec in the Six Flags Over Georgia vlog, and we had lost him in the Gatlinburg Mirror Maze. So if you're kind of wondering where that joke came from, why we kept on saying "Where's Alec," it's because we literally lost him in like 3 different videos for real, and then it just started becoming a joke. So so yeah, if you didn't realize, Alec wasn't even on half of this road trip. Sorry about that. So Alec's last park was Waldemere, and we didn't shoot a vlog there. So the last vlog he was in was La Ronde, and so every park afterwards where we were saying, "Where's Alec?" He wasn't even in the park. So everyone saying who was like, Alec is somewhere around here. Why does he always go missing for the vlogs? He wasn't even there. So that's where the joke came in, and so we're sorry about that. It was just an inside joke because we lost him in the Mirror Maze, we lost him at Six Flags Over Georgia, and then some other times we just went missing. So we didn't. It wasn't even on half of this road trip. So oh man, so that's where the "Where's Alec" joke comes in. So poor Alec is in the chat room, and now his legacy is that he's always missing. So we found Alec. Actually, hey, let's do something funny. Why don't everyone here, why don't you go out and Photoshop where you think Alec actually was during the vlogs? So like, everyone's always like, "Oh, where's Alec?" So where was he? So let's go and do it. So here, if you have any sort of Photoshop device or something, well, if you guys all send that to me, I'll throw it up in on the Facebook page. And we go Photoshop. You can use video, just screenshot something of Alec from like a vlog. Go and Photoshop Alec in wherever he may be for why he wasn't in the park. Here, I'm gonna add this to the screen so you guys see. We'll make it a challenge. I'll repost all of them that you guys do. Alright, I'm throwing this up on the screen. I want to see this happen. With all the row 6 ones, we had some awesome photoshops last time, so I expect some good ones. Here we go. Boom. It's there. It happened. Do it. Come on, guys. Where was Alec? Let's get some creativity. Here we go. Chad's go. Alec was in the shed. We know it's in the shed, guys. It was Alec. Oh man, that's great. So anyways, so that was when we lost Alec. So after Six Flags Over Georgia, we book into the car. We're all sopping wet. We didn't have any towels or anything, so we drive up to Pigeon Forge. We get to our hotel, and we got there early enough where we realized that Dollywood was closed, but a lot of the Alpine coasters were open. So we said, why don't we go do Goats on the Roof? And so, because I'd done it before, but I had never done it at night, and so we went and we were able to get hooked up for it. It was super great. Shout out to Tanner, again, moderating in the chat room. He was able to hook us up with that. And so we did Goats on the Roof that night, and I did a Instagram live stream there, so if you guys saw that, that's where that was. And then we, next morning we did Dollywood. Surprise, surprise, Lightning Rod was closed. So, yeah, moment of silence for everyone who hasn't ridden Lightning Rod yet, including Alec and Adam. Feel really bad for him, but yeah, we missed out on Lightning Rod again, and then so we ended up getting done with Dollywood early, and so we were like, what could we do in Pigeon Forge? Because as you know, there's nothing to do in Pigeon Forge. Like, there's no attractions. No, there's tons. Like, Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge, there's so much there. And so we're like, let's just have fun with this. And so after Dollywood, we went up to Ober-Gatlinburg, which if you guys haven't done this, I did it like 4 or 5 years ago. And so we did it again. You take this like Swedish type tram, like all the way up to the top of this mountain. They had an Alpine coaster there, Alpine slide. I shot POVs of both with everyone's favorite POV glasses, the pivot heads. So we shot some POVs of those. So actually we have POVs of that and Goats on the Roof, and some other stuff. So we did shoot some POVs on this trip, and so we'll get there. So we go up to Obergatlinburg. We take the tram up, do the coaster and the slide, take it back down. We were done in an hour, which Obergatlinburg, a lot of people consider that like a 6 hour, like half a day thing. And so it was crazy that we were able to do that so fast. And then after that, we're like, well, we still got a lot of time. What else could we do? And so we did Mystery Mansion at Gatlinburg's Mystery Mansion. Now, if you remember, back in November when the fires were coming, Mystery Mansion declared that it was gone. Like it was toast. There was nothing left of it. It was completely burned to the ground. And so we were like, oh, thank goodness it's there and everything. And so we did it, and this is incredible. Let's talk about Mystery Mansion there, because if you go to Gatlinburg, you gotta do this at some point. It is so cool. So what Mystery Mansion is, it looks like this haunted house. So you walk up it, and you pay for it and everything, and it's this entire multi-level haunted house, and there's scare actors in it. But here's the catch: there's only 2 of them. There are 2 scare actors in this entire maze, and this is like a 15-minute long thing. Like it takes a while to go through. There's so many rooms, and there are 2 scare actors doing all it. So they have secret passageways where they're going, like they're all over the place, and it was so good. Like this is one of the best haunted houses I've ever done, and there were 2 scare actors in it. Like it was that good. I was so impressed with it. We ran out of we ran out of it like terrified and stuff. It was incredible. So if you get a chance to do Gatlinburg's Mystery Mansion, do it. So after that, the night was kind of winding down, and so we after like at that point, all of the Gatlinburg stuff started closing. So we wanted to do like another haunted house thing, but it was closed and everything, and so we thought about doing the Mirror Maze again. Because if you saw that video, it was super fun, but we didn't get around to it. So at that point, we said, well, we don't really have any rides or attractions to do, but we did have something else we could do, and this was crazy. So we are with Tanner and one other guy, and this is in Tennessee, so like we're in all woods, and it's all hills and everything, and so it's me, it's Alec, Adam, and Tanner, and his redneck friend. Sorry, Tanner. Yeah, he kind of is. So they're leading us through the woods, and they're taking us to an abandoned amusement park that used to operate. If you guys saw this video, this was way cool. So we're in Gatlinburg, and it's surrounded by mountains, and so we're going up this one mountain in the middle of the woods, and like we're going through everything, and we're trying to find this abandoned amusement park. So what we ended up finding, we found the sky ride that actually leads you up to the top of where the amusement park was. And so we find the sky ride. It's this abandoned sky ride. It was so cool, and it looked like something out of a horror movie. It was the craziest thing. It did not look like anything that could actually be real. Like it looked like it was a set piece. And so the fact that it was there, it was way crazy. So we follow the sky ride all the way up to the mountain, and we end up getting lost. And that's why I said, if you watch the vlog, don't go try and find this place, because like we had guides who had been there before trying to get to the top of it, but like even we got lost. It was so hard to find because it is like midnight, and we were trying to find this place. And so we finally, like we turned back at one point, but then we realized we were actually closer than we thought. So we get to the top. We'd probably been hiking about 2.5 miles uphill through the woods, 2.5 miles at midnight to get to this abandoned place. And we get to the top. We find the top of the sky ride, and so we're looking around because we know that there are some rides around here. They took everything out, but there was this old abandoned roller coaster, and so we go there. We're looking around, and we find it. So let me tell you about this, because this kind of had some controversy, because if you look at it, it does kind of look like railroad tracks. And so the thing is that we don't really know exactly what it is. I think it could be a roller coaster, but also it could be like some other things. So some people were arguing, okay, it's a full-out train ride, but it was so much on the side of a mountain where it couldn't have been a train. It didn't go anywhere. Like this was some sort of ride, and I don't see how it could have been a complete circuit. So it was way crazy. It was just like the wildest thing, and so we after that getting back down was a lot easier than finding it. So it took us like maybe a third of the time that it took to get up there to get back down. It was nothing to get back down, and so that was our night after Dollywood. It was such a long day. It was absolutely insane. Again, we don't know if it was a roller coaster. It could have been railroad tracks of like some sort, but it was definitely some sort of ride. Again, there was a sky ride right there, so we don't know exactly what it was. But whether it was a roller coaster or not, just the fact that we found it and it's abandoned, it was pretty crazy. So the next morning, we left and we drove up. Our end goal was to get to Ohio that night. And so we decided to stop at Beach Bend. If you haven't been there, this park is kind of in the middle of nowhere. Like, it's in Bowling Green, Kentucky, which is a decent-sized city. But to get there, like, you're driving through nothing. And the road to get to Beach Bend is like driving up a driveway. Like, it feels one lane, and you're, like, going up here, and you don't even see a roller coaster until you get there. So you're feeling like, what are we doing here? There's nothing here. And then we find Beach Bend. So we were able to get in there. The Beach Bend people hooked us up with tickets. It was awesome. We were able to get on Kentucky Rambler several times, and they actually have two other spinning coasters there. One was a Wild Mouse, one was an SBF spinner, and so we were able to get all those, and the park actually closes at like 6 o'clock. So we were able to get last ride of the night there, and after that we were there for maybe a few hours, and then we got up and we were staying at Alex's house. So we get there that night, and the next day was, of course, Kings Island. So that was the nearest park around there. We were kind of hovering around the Kings Island area for a while, but we only actually went to Kings Island one day this year. I kind of wish I could have gotten another, but it was okay. We were off doing other parks, and I would rather go to a new park than like a park I'd already been to. So it was a good day at Kings Island. The big thing was Mystic Timbers, and if you shoot, I have a correction. After Beach Bend we did not go to Alex's house. It was Lucas's house. Thank you, Lucas at Ohio Colts. That was my bad. You are absolutely correct. We stayed at Alex's house later, but we did Lucas's house first. My bad. So so we did Kings Island, got Mystic Timbers. Guys, this ride is so good. I'm going to have a full review up, but man, that was a big surprise. It was way better than I thought it would be. So Mystic Timbers, huge thumbs up for me. Got to get over to ride this thing. It's the best ride at Kings Island. It is so good. So Mystic Timbers blew away my expectations. It was a great day at Kings Island. Kings Island, probably, when I think about it, Kings Island was the most crowded park that we went to. Out of all the parks that we visited, we were thinking that the most crowded was going to be like Canada's Wonderland or Six Flags Over Georgia on Memorial Day. But for the most part, crowds on this trip were almost non-existent. The most crowded park that we went to was Kings Island. So yeah, it stunk that like every time we wanted to ride Mystic Timbers, we had to wait like an hour or like 45 minutes, somewhere around there. So that kind of stunk, but I would rather have the most crowded park been Kings Island than a new park. So anyways, that was Kings Island. Good place. I always love me some Kings Island. So we were with a bunch of friends. Again, we were with Ohio Valley Coasters. We had Lucas, Alec, Adam, and this was kind of the point where we were batten down the hatches. We're all ready to go. We're going to Hollywood Nights. This was what we figured would be like the climax of the trip. This would be the moment when it was going to be like, we figured we were going to have the most fun here, which is kind of interesting because of this Holiday World. This is a park that I'd been to before, and they only have 4 notable roller coasters. We don't really count the kiddie coasters. So 4 roller coasters and then a water park. And so we're thinking, it's going to be a good time, but what really made it a blast is because this was a roller coaster enthusiast event. So there were so many people here. it was insane how many people I actually knew that were at this event, because it was almost like every enthusiast I'd ever met came to this event, and so it was ridiculous how many people were actually here. We're all staying in a cabin. It was pretty great. So, um, 1 second, guys. I'm gonna get some water. So, what we did then was we were all in this cabin, and so this cabin is meant for about 8 people, and so we're all friends, and then we we get in more people in this cabin than we're supposed to be, and it was just the most bizarre thing, because this is awesome. The cabin is right next to it's right next to the park, and there aren't really hotels around there, so we were like, okay, we gotta stay at this cabin, and we got everyone in there, and it was like so much fun, because you have a day at Holiday World, and then we're all in this cabin just having an absolute blast, and then we have more times at Holiday World. Like, most of the time, I think one day at Holiday World was good, but we had 2, and that was perfect. So we just had all this enthusiasm. In Holiday World, they know how to put on an event. They were doing an absolute fantastic job with the food, because this is all a Jurassic Park theme. So they have all dinosaurs and stuff. They're playing Jurassic Park music. I love Jurassic Park, so this was great. And they had inflatable people and dinosaurs. It was so funny. They really went all out with this. And then they had like volcano-shaped cakes and dinosaur wings, and they're like chicken wings. And it is just the funniest thing. And so we're all in this water park, and they've closed off. It's all ERT, so we're all running around. We're doing the water slides and just all hanging out, and we're getting like free food. And so day 1 was absolutely fantastic. We get back to the cabin. Again, the fun doesn't end. We're just having a blast. And here's what's funny. So you throw a bunch of enthusiasts in a cabin together, and you kind of wonder what's going to happen. Well, some people, when you throw them all in like a tight space, a bunch of like irresponsible teenagers, people start like maybe doing things that they shouldn't, such as like bringing out alcohol or whatever. But we're a bunch of coaster enthusiasts, so what do? We turned the cabin into a haunt maze. So we had all these mattresses, we stood them up like walls, and built a haunt maze around. It was the most insane thing that has ever happened. It was so funny. We're all like, we turned our phones into strobe lights, and we had designated people to be scare actors, and so we're all going around, and they're like scaring us, and it was so funny. So like, we're filming a walkthrough of our homemade cabin haunt maze, and it was like, there was some moments where we were generally like freaking out. So it was just the funniest thing. So the cabin was absolutely fantastic, and that was a big highlight for me. Again, that was kind of one of the things that made us all love the cabin so much. It was an absolute blast. So that was the Hollywood Nights cabin, and then we go back for day 2 of Hollywood Nights. And so we do the Splash and Safari, great time as always, and then this is at the point where all of the GP, all the public, were actually in the park and everything. They hadn't closed it for ERT, so they decided to occupy our time by, instead of riding roller coasters during that time, they had backstage tours. So we were able to get Legend and Raven tours, and it was like absolutely fantastic. Like, I'm a big sucker for backstage tours, so having a tour of all of their roller coasters was so great. So we had Raven and Legend, then like an hour later, Voyage and Thunderbird. And the crazy thing with Voyage and Thunderbird was that when the tour was scheduled, Voyage was down. Voyage was down most of the day. And so that's why if you see some of the footage of Voyage running empty trains, it's because he was having so many issues. So that was not great, but eventually they got it up and running, and it was actually breaking down a lot. So my first night ride on Voyage, we were stuck at the top of the lift hill for like 15 minutes. So here I am ready to take my first ride on Voyage tonight. I'm so pumped. And we get to the top and we get stuck. It was like the odds of that happening and just the sheer irony with it was so funny. So that was great. And then we did we did the backstage tours. Yeah, I love chatting with everyone. Like all of the Hollywood Nights staff, they're all so fantastic. They're all so nice. You have Matt, Leah, Lauren, James, like all these people like that you know them by name because you know how much time and effort they put into the place and how much devotion they have. So the Hollywood Holiday World staff is so great. Had a blast talking with them and everything. And then the ERT kicks in. So we were able to do all this Thunderbird ERT and Voyage ERT, which again, it was down for a lot of days. So here we are, we're waiting for Voyage tonight, and it's closed. And then finally, everyone goes nuts when it opens. The highlight, though, was the Water Cup Challenge. So there was a vlog where we talked about this, so I won't go too much in depth with it. But long story short, the Holiday World staff love having specific, like, Olympic-themed events for their staff, and one of them is you bring a cup filled with water on a roller coaster, and you see how much you have left after you ride it. It's kind of a competition. And so they brought this to the people attending Hollywood Nights, and it was so much fun. So everyone's over there. We're all got our cups full of water, and so you're all riding the roller coaster, trying to keep the cup filled with water, and you can only use a body part. So it was tricky. Again, we used the suction tactic, and like I'm surprised like cups weren't hitting people in the face because like Legend is laterals like crazy. You are going around, so like I'm surprised that a cup didn't flap and like hit someone. A good thing it's paper, so it wasn't a big deal. But what I liked about it was the competition factor, and what was it? Crap, I had a thought. Brain fart. I don't remember what I was going to say. Never mind. So that was Water Cup Challenge, and so that kind of ended everything with Holiday World. I didn't want the event to end. It was so good. I absolutely loved it. And so we get back to the cabin, and we realize that the next day we're going to Marineland in Canada. Now, if you know anything about the map of America, Indiana's here. Canada is over here. That's about 9 hours to get there. So we we said, okay, if we want to be able to, and we realized that Marineland closes before it gets dark. So if we wanted to get to Marineland before it started getting dark and before they were going to physically close everything down, then we had to leave now. As in, we got back from Hollywood Nights, and we packed up all our stuff, and we left. It's probably 2 in the morning, or 3 in the morning. And we drove all through the night, and get to Marineland at like 3 or 4 maybe. It was a long day, but the good news is we were all so tired, so we just took turns driving in 2 to 3 hour intervals, and then so we were able to get sleep when we weren't driving, so that was super nice. So what was crazy was I've never been outside of the country, so this was kind of like a highlight moment for me. We're gonna go to Canada. So in the world of like countries to get to, like Canada's cool and everything. Like I actually really liked being there, but it was like we had to start somewhere. So getting to Canada, I ended up being the one to take us across the border and everything. So we're driving along. We're crossing the river. We get to border control, and this was a great story with border control. So first, I'm not driving my car. So Adam is the one whose car is the one. It's his car. So we roll up to border control. I've never done this before, and none of us had. So we had no idea what to do. So there's like it's almost like a toll plaza where there's a person there, and they have to check all your passports and stuff. So we roll up there. We get up next to the toll plaza, and I'm driving, and I just kind of look at him, and I'm waiting for him to say, passports or like ask me a question, but he was waiting for me to do something, but I didn't know what because I'd never been here before. So we had this moment where I'm looking at the security guard, he's looking at me, and neither of us are doing anything because we had no idea, because I didn't know what to do. He was expecting me to know what to do, but I didn't know what to do, and so we're just having this moment where I'm like, it was really funny. So, so I'm like, is there something I'm supposed to do? And he's like, yeah, give me your passports, and look, like, said it in the most sassy manner where I'm just like, sorry. It was so funny. I felt like a total idiot. So the thing was that we had our passports in the trunk, and so like I'm totally like clustered. I'm trying to figure out what to do. I end up popping the hood of the car instead of the trunk, and so I'm feeling like a total mess right now. And so we end up giving him our passports, and he's asking like all these crazy questions. He wants to know exactly how we met, where we're from, what we're doing over here, like everything. And it was awkward, but it was so funny. So finally, eventually, he realized that we're a bunch of stupid teenagers, and so he's like, oh, whatever, just go. And so we drove off, and then we got to Marineland, and this is the weirdest park on our trip, like, easily. So this is the place where first of all, there's free parking. So you get there, you walk in, I mean, there's like an admission and everything, so, you pay, you walk in, and the park is huge. There's so much land. You can't see rides anywhere. Like, you are walking around. It feels like a national park almost, or just like a neighborhood park. So you're walking around. You don't see any rides. It's just big pathways. And then you get to this ginormous S&S Starfly, or it's a drop tower, but it's called Sky Screamer. Not like the Six Flags ride, but like it's called Sky Screamer. So that's like the only thing we can see. We didn't even see Dragon Mountain. So this park is so big. They had so much land that they didn't know what to do with. And it's called Marineland because they have animals and stuff. But the animals were very scattered throughout. There wasn't any cohesion or anything. And so it was really crazy. So we did the drop tower first, and that was crazy. So me, Alec, and Adam, and Marcus kind of did, but we had this thing where if you haven't caught it, we say what the, where we'd say what the whatever, or like we'd insert what we're talking about. So if we see a dog crossing the road, we'd say what the dog off its leash, or like something like that, and we would just kind of like, we say what we're thinking, and so we were doing this all the time, and if you watch the vlogs, you hear us doing that. And so we're riding Sky Screamer, this massive S&S drop tower, and I'm filming a POV of it in my glasses, and it's going to catch all the audio. But the entire time, I have Alec on my left and Adam on my right, and the entire time that we're riding, they're just saying what the, like, what the 300 feet up, what the Niagara Falls, like just like pointing stuff and like being this like loud and teenager stuff. And so if I ever release the POV, it is just funny because of the audio. The audio is hilarious. So it was great, and that was just kind of like a running thing that we did the entire time. So if it catches on, we take full credit for that. That was our thing. So we did that, and then we were up, and the Sky Screamer is at the top of this hill, so you have to walk all the way around this hill. You get to the drop tower. That's the only thing there, and so we do the drop tower, and we have this nice view. They have a topple tower that isn't open, and so we're just looking around. We see Dragon Mountain. It's like way off in the distance. We're like, we have to walk all the way there, and so we have to walk all the way down, like walk a mile. It feels like to get to Dragon Mountain, and we walk in, and there's no one there. So we're like, what the full empty queue? And so we ride. I did front row first, and then we did back row. Dragon Mountain is the weirdest roller coaster. It's like the Beast if it were an aerodynamics looping coaster. It was so bizarre. Like, there were so many straight sections and everything, and we're going through the woods, and there's like helixes. Like, it's literally the Beast if it were Canadian, and it just kind of meandered around. It was so bizarre. It only had one lift hill, but I really thought there was going to be two because it was losing so much momentum at one point. So that was the weirdest ride. I'm so glad we rode it though, because it's kind of like an elusive credit. Not too many people get around to riding Dragon Mountain at Marineland. So it was cool. The park was really bizarre. We didn't spend too much time there. It was cool. So after that, we spent some time at Niagara Falls because it's just down the road from it. And Niagara Falls was super neat. Like, I really like that kind of thing, seeing the waterfalls. And then they have a downtown area, which is kind of like Gatlinburg. Again, if you've been to the Dollywood, Pigeon Forge area, that's what Niagara Falls is like, at least the Canadian side. So you're just walking up the street. They have, like, haunted houses, Ferris wheels, mini golf, shops, everything. It was really cool. Of course, there's like Ripley's, believe it or not, kind of thing. So it was cool. We didn't do too much, but we just like walking around there and then seeing the waterfall. And then we get to our hotel that night. And we just kind of chilled because we had a super long day. We basically had a 48-hour day because we had all day at Holiday World, and then we didn't like sleep or anything. We got in the car and then drove to Canada and then had Marineland and Niagara Falls and stuff. So that whole day was a really long day. So that was good. I mean, thank goodness that we had multiple drivers. If it was just, that's why I say, if this is just one person to it, that's impossible. You got to have multiple people. You just get so tired if you didn't have that. So it was a good time though. It's stories like that you appreciate when you pull a 48-hour day going to a park in Indiana and a park in Canada. So essentially, we rode Dragon Mountain and the Voyage in the same day. How many people have done that before? How many people have done the Voyage and Dragon Mountain on the same day? Anyone here? Just curious, because I think we may be the only ones in the world to have done that. So, this was when we got to the big moment of the trip. Canada's Wonderland. Wow, this place is cool. The problem was, we just assumed that because it's June, it's going to be like a nice, beautiful day and everything, but it was freezing. Canada, and both days at Niagara Falls were cloudy and so cold. So we're riding Leviathan in, I don't know, 50-degree weather or whatever, and we're wearing shorts because we didn't know otherwise. So that was not great, but the downside was that because of this weather, it was kind of slowing you down. Like Leviathan was crawling towards the end. So our first ride on Leviathan, I don't know, I wasn't that impressed. I thought it was good, but it wasn't what I was hoping. And I realized it's because the first time we rode it, it was running really sluggish. So Leviathan, I wasn't too crazy at first. Shout out though, Adam, who was on our trip, just joined the chat room, so he'll be helping moderate along with Lucas and Alec and everything. And actually, Alec commented, he says, rip my Cedar Fair jacket. If you guys didn't see this on Twitter, when Alec rode King to Ka for the first time, it was so forceful, it ripped his Cedar Fair jacket. I mean, yeah, he wore a Cedar Fair jacket too, a Six Flags park. But, so maybe that was Six Flags kind of getting back at him, but it was really funny. First time on King to Ka, and his jacket just goes, and he's like, look at this, and like, there's a giant hole in it. So it was really funny, actually. So getting back to Canada's Wonderland, it was freezing cold. Leviathan was running slow, so like, first ride on Leviathan, I was like, it was good, but like, didn't love it. And then we did it again. It was way better that time, so really like Leviathan. It was good. We actually ended up getting 10 rides in on it over 2 days. And then Behemoth, I got 9 rides. I think everyone else got 10. I don't know what I was doing during that other one, but where I missed out on it. But I would have gotten a 10th ride, but someone vomited when I was about to get on, and so they shut down the ride to clean that up, and we didn't have time, so didn't get 10 rides. But, I got 9 rides on it, so we did that. And what's crazy about Canada's Wonderland, so they have so many roller coasters. There's so many rides. The problem is that outside of Leviathan and Behemoth, the other coasters are pretty mediocre. Like, we did everything else once. Behemoth and Leviathan were the only coasters that we just kept on riding. I did Dragonfire twice, I think, but everything else we did once. So it was really just Behemoth and Leviathan that we like to ride. Time Warp and Flight Deck are two of the most awful coasters ever, and they're sitting right next to each other. So not too crazy about that. But what's cool is, I mean, you go to Kansas Wonderland, one for the, yeah, you go for the coasters and stuff, but they have so many flat rides, good flat rides. You can tell that this is the Cedar Fair testing ground, and so they send all of their like prototype flat rides to Canada's Wonderland, and it is so crazy. I was Sledgehammer is kind of the big iconic one, and then they have Skyhawk. Okay, can I just talk about Skyhawk for a bit? This is it's a Gerstlauer, crap, what's it called? Gerstlauer Skyflyer. Shoot, I don't remember what it's called. I'm sure you guys in the comments will know, but it's you get in and you have these handles, and you move it like this, and it has these wings that you move. So if you go like this, you can start spinning. The problem is, to start spinning is hard. I did the ride twice, and in it, I was only able to get 2 spins. It's a Gerstlauer Sky Roller. That's what it is. That's what it is. Thanks, guys. Gerstlauer Sky Roller, and it is hard. It's not easy to do. Like most people get 0 spins. Like I was able to get going, like pretty high, and then that's it. The ride isn't long enough to really kind of get going. You really have to get going like right off the bat. You got to start spinning before you reach the top. And so I was pretty proud. I got 2 flips at one point. The thing is, once you start flipping, it's really easy to get going. So like you have Alec. Alec, hey, like, you're in the chat. How many flips did you get? I feel like it was like 30. Yeah, and actually we have a viewer who's here. When we were at Kansas One, she got 45. Then we were with this other guy. He got 60 or something. This fan that we were with, and he was hanging out with us, and he got 60. And we're like, I got 2. It was like, I thought it was hard. I really kind of wanted to do it more. The problem is that it's not the most comfortable ride. If you're a dude, it kind of hurts you down there a bit because the restraints are really tight. Yeah, so Adam got 25 on his second try. So maybe I just thought it was super hard. Some people are definitely better at it than others. I thought it was pretty hard, but people who are getting up to like in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, like once you start getting up there, that's really impressive because you're just going like this and you're like, and you don't know how to stop because you just keep going. So it was crazy. So that was the Gerstlauer Sky Roller. I liked it. I'd do it again. I wouldn't mind seeing more of those at Cedar Fair parks. It's just hard to get going. You really kind of have to ride it more than to get used to it. So that was that. We also got a Wonder Mountain's Guardian. This was kind of cool because this is one of the last Cedar Fair dark rides that we needed to do. So you have this, and you have Plants vs. Zombies, Voyage to the Iron Reef, and then the one at California's Great America. So, but this was the last one that I needed. And to do that was cool. I actually think I liked this better than all of the others. And I think the roller coaster element did help. And it does have a surprise ending. So the surprise ending was cool. I mean, I've done something like that before on a roller coaster not too far away from me. But, that's just kind of shows how it is. Yeah, Mass Effect. That's it. So that was kind of neat. Vortex is kind of like the bat at Kings Island. And that's kind of it for Kansas One. And the only other thing to mention is that we got on Soaring Timbers, which is their new flat ride, which kind of felt really repetitive. I'm not going to do a review on Soaring Timbers just because I'll stick to roller coaster reviews, but I'll say this about Soaring Timbers. It felt redundant because we had Electro Spin, or whatever the Mondial Top Scan is. It's right next to Soaring Timbers. And it felt really repetitive. Like it did everything that the Mondial Top Scan does, but not as good because Soaring Timbers, you're facing inside, and it basically kind of does this as it like takes you along, but for a lot of the time you have a view of the row in front of you. So it was it was fine. It just felt really repetitive and not necessary. The other weird thing is that you have to have 10 people on it to ride. And I think it's because it's 5 across. You have to have 5 on each side in order for them to send it. So we were waiting. They're like on the midway, and they're like, "Hey, we need a few more riders in order to send this thing." They wouldn't send it until there were 10 people on the ride. So that's just kind of something to note about. I mean, it was kind of a dead day, so it was kind of hard to get that many people on it because everyone's at like Leviathan or Behemoth, and so that was kind of tricky. But I'm glad we did it. It was weird. I have some people asking about Tim Hortons. So yeah, while we were in Canada, we had an interesting experience. We were looking for a Starbucks because we had never heard of Tim Hortons. Like, we don't have Tim Hortons in America. Like, there's some in Ohio, I think, but I'm from Virginia. I'd never heard of Tim Hortons in my life. And so we see all these Tim Hortons everywhere. We had no idea what it was. I mean, obviously we know it's like donuts and coffee and that kind of thing now, kind of like a Dunkin' Donuts, but we didn't know that at the time. So we're driving around, we're looking for a Starbucks, and our phone says that there's a Starbucks, because this is after Cannon's 100. So our phone says there's a Starbucks that is, it closed at 9, let's say. So we're not too far away. So we get there, and it actually closed at 8, and we missed it. And so we're like, oh my gosh. So we're like, okay, let's go find another Starbucks. So we're driving to another Starbucks, and we got pulled over. We got pulled over in Canada. And it wasn't for doing anything wrong. We weren't speeding or anything. It was because they didn't recognize our license plate because it didn't have Ontario on it. So the cops are all used to seeing Ontario license plates, and so they see our license plate, which again, it's Adam's car, so it says Kansas on it. They didn't know what Kansas was, and so they pulled us over because they're like driving really close behind us, and they're like, you can tell they're kind of reading our plate, but they're like so confused. They flip on their lights, and we're flipping out. We're like, what did we do? I don't know. And so we're freaking out. We pull over, and the cops come over. It's not like, okay, when we say the Canadian police pulled us over, don't think like of a person on a horse with like a hat. No, it was like a normal cop. But so like they pull over and they're like asking for our stuff, and so we give them our license and registration stuff, and then they're like, so what is Kansas? Where are you guys from? And that kind of thing. And so we're like, we're from America, and they're like, oh, what are you doing up here? And we're like, we're going to Canada's Wonderland, and they're like, oh, that's cool. And we're like, were we speeding? They're like, no. And so they're like, so what were you, like, why are we getting pulled over? And they're like, well, we didn't know what Kansas was. And we're like, are you kidding me? We were trying to go to Starbucks, and they pulled us over because they didn't recognize our license plate. So it was funny. So we explained we're trying to find a Starbucks. So they actually gave us directions to the nearest Starbucks. So remember, it was like 8:30, and so we thought we'd get to the Starbucks that said it closed at 9, but it was actually closed at 8, so we missed it. So this cop slowing us down then says, okay, well, you'll be able to go to this Starbucks that closes at 10. And so we're like, okay, thanks. So we get on the road, and we get to another Starbucks that closes at 10, and we're walking up to it, and they close it. It actually closed at 9. So every Starbucks that we went to closed an hour earlier than what the internet said. And so if the cops hadn't pulled us over, we would have made it to Starbucks in time. So it was just bad news. So the cops made us miss out on Starbucks because they didn't know what Kansas was. So it was just a bad situation. So it was really funny. But I mean, when you think about it, of just how ridiculous this situation is, we're a bunch of college kids, first time in Canada. None of us had ever been here before, so we're clueless as can be. We're riding roller coasters, and then we get pulled over looking for a Starbucks. So it was really funny. So after that, we drove to Quebec for Montreal, and I gotta say, it's really weird being in Quebec because what happens is that before I get to that, Yeah, so the Starbucks closed, so we actually did end up going to Tim Hortons. So everyone who was like, "Did you try Tim Hortons?" Yeah, we did try Tim Hortons. I ended up I got a berry smoothie and a donut or something like that. I don't really remember, but the smoothie was good. So we then drove to Montreal, and this is weird because they speak French there. So all the signs are like in French and everything, and all the people there speak French, but a lot of them speak English too. But we didn't know that. So every time we went to go talk to someone, whether it was at La Ronde or just in general, we had to start off by saying, "Do you speak English?" And we felt really stupid when they were like, "Yeah," and like spoke perfect English, and we're like, "Oh, sorry." So it was funny. So we get to our hotel, and it looks kind of sketchy, and we're thinking, oh man, like we're tired, and we're just like, you know what, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter if it's sketchy or anything. And so I'm in the car waiting, and then Adam comes over. He's like, dude, you have to see our hotel room. I'm like, oh crap, it's probably trashy or something. We get there, it was the nicest hotel room we have ever stayed at. I think what happened was that all of the regular rooms were full, and because we were only staying there one night, they just upgraded us to a suite because they moved us to like a separate area where there were like these double doors, and it was just this massive room, so nice. And we're looking around and we're like, what the upgraded Quebec Montreal hotel is this? And it was like really good. Like, it was the nicest hotel we stayed at the entire trip. And we definitely didn't pay for it. It was by far just a free upgrade that they gave us because they probably didn't care, and they're just like, oh, these stupid Americans. And we're like, do you speak English? And they're like, shut up. And so we were able to stay in that hotel. Unfortunately, it was only for one night, but it was super nice. Like, best hotel by far. So, we had the hotel, nicest hotel we stayed at, followed by the worst park on our entire trip. La Ronde was garbage. It was so bad. So, I'll get into the details in the review because believe me, the La Ronde review is going to be, you guys are going to like it. I'm not going to hold anything back for the review. I'm going off on La Ronde in the review. So I'm going to try and not go too much into it. But long story short, the people going to La Ronde, like, I get that not everyone is like that, but there are so many people there who just have no etiquette. I think because La Ronde is the only park around, they don't know how to act. Like, you follow the rules and everything, and as long as you're not like being absolutely horrible, you're doing fine. But these people were line jumping, they were being obnoxious, everyone at La Ronde was under the age of 16. It was so obnoxious. Like, the people easily were half of the reason why we couldn't stand La Ronde. We got line cut at every single ride. It was so bad. And we missed out on 4 credits. Monster, the Kiddie Coaster, Cobra, which is closed. And then we missed out on, well, okay, so Monster's 2 credits. So that's it. Which that's kind of funny because I missed out on Monster at Adventureland last year, and I missed out on Monster at La Ronde, so I have yet to ride a coaster named Monster, unless you count Loch Ness Monster, but that's not the same. So, La Ronde is absolute trash. I'm really gonna go in depth to it in the review, so look out for the review. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But what happened was we get to La Ronde. It takes us like 15 minutes to get there. La Ronde is actually like on an island surrounded by water. So it's got a super picturesque setting. That was probably the best part about it. The parking lot was super weird because they had to like find a weird area to park us because it was because of like the space, like but you park like along the water and then you have to walk. And again, so the thing is that your dining plan doesn't work when you go to La Ronde. So if we had the Six Flags plan, so we're walking up to the guest services and we're like, do you speak English? And they're like, yeah. And so we were able to get receipts for it. And my thing was that you get two meals and then a snack. So half of the stuff that we were trying to get as our snack counted as a meal. We tried to get a beaver tail. That's a snack. That's like a dessert, and it counted as a meal there. And same with poutine. That's a basket of fries, and they charged it as our meal. So that was stupid. It was I don't like that. Like, um, I was not happy about that. I mean, the poutine was good and everything, but that is not a meal. It's a basket of fries with bacon and cheese in it. So it was, no, didn't like that. But I mean, the food was fine, and they have a McDonald's in there, which is kind of cool. So what happens? So we get to Laron, we wait like 15 minutes to get in because they have all these switchbacks. It's this enormous line. We go straight to Goliath, and they're doing test trains. Like, why are you testing it? The park has been open for like 20 minutes, and they hadn't even opened it yet, and they were just taking forever, like taking their sweet time. And what we learned was that the ride-ups just in general at that park were not great. We were not. No, we were the ride-ups were not great. What happened was once it finally opened, we wait in our line for Goliath. You know, it's our first ride of the day. We'd already kind of not had a great experience so far, and we take our seat in the front row. And there's ways that you can ride a roller coaster to be able to get plenty of airtime. You sit up tight and that kind of thing, so that when they push down your lap bar, you're left with like a little bit of room so that you can get airtime and stuff. You're still totally safe and everything, because you're not like being obnoxious about it. Because like there's a certain amount of room that you can tolerate so that you're able to get airtime and still be safe and everything. Otherwise, they'll push the restraint down further. So I'm doing my thing. I'm sitting down and I have the lap bar enough where I should be able to get airtime and stuff. And the ride op comes over to me and slams down the restraint. And clearly that wasn't good enough for her. She wanted me as far back as possible to make myself as small as possible so she could push the restraint down as far as possible so that I could get no airtime. So she looks at me like pushed it down, and she sees that I have like where I could scoot back just a little bit more. So she's like, like speak something in French, and I'm like, I look at her like, what? And she goes, "Sit down," and I'm like, woman, I am sitting. You have me. The lap bar is far down, like already really far, and she's like, scoot back, sit down. And I'm like, what? So I scoot back a little bit, and she pushes it down another click. So like right now, I've been at a point where I'm not going to get much airtime. These are the B&M clamshell restraints, and I'm like, okay, that's far down, but that wasn't good enough for her. She's like, sit down. And so I scoot even far back, and she goes, boom, and slams the restraint down as far down as I could go. I couldn't move my leg up like just the little bit of an inch. It was so bad. I was like, oh my gosh, my first ride on Goliath, and it would be impossible to get airtime. It was so bad because she was like, no, you have to sit down. And I'm like, lady, you could leave the restraint up like 3 clicks higher than what you had, and I'd be perfectly safe. What is your reasoning for telling me to scoot back? There is no logic in that. And it was so bad. So we ride Goliath the first time, and I didn't get any airtime at all. It was so bad. And so I get out, and like you have Adam and Alec and Marcus, and they're like, that was pretty good. Like, we liked it. And I'm like, I got no airtime because the lady told me to sit down. It was so bad. So I see a lot of people doing hashtag sit down in the comments. Why do I feel like this is the new Rose 6 thing? Here we go. All right, we're gonna replace the Alec thing. So Photoshop Alec, but we got a new one. Hashtag sit down. So we got. There we go. Hashtag sit down. It was just so bad. So I was super salty about this, and so we go off. We do the other rides, and we're about to leave. We're so done with this park, but I'm like, guys, can we go ride this one more time? I want to do Goliath again because I wanted so bad to like it. I could tell where the airtime was supposed to be. And I wanted to be able to experience that. And so we did. We waited again, and there was one train on it, and so the line was taking forever. And so finally, we get in, and this time we go for the back. And so we're scoping out. We're like, okay, that right op is stapling people. Okay, okay. Let's see. That person didn't. That person left room for that person. So we're like trying to figure out exactly which ride op were stapling people and which ones weren't. And so we go, and I'm purposely sitting outside where I see that this ride op over here is not stapling as much. So I sit up, make sure to leave like enough room. Again, it's coming down. It's still coming down enough for like I'll be able to get airtime. I'm not gonna fly, perfectly safe. And so she comes down and just like gives like a light little tap and everything, and then goes. And I'm like, why? Why could not have the first ride-up have done that? Like, the first ride-up was, like, determined. She was having a bad day. She's just like, I'm going to staple everyone on this train so that our best ride in the park now it sucks. And I'm like, oh, thanks for giving us a Six Flags day, LaRonde. And so, meanwhile, you have this ride-up that's probably just like, I hate my job. I don't even care. All right, you're good. And so I'm like, thanks, man. And so rode Goliath again in the back row. Got tons of airtime. It was great. I really liked it. So it's so stupid that I've ridden Goliath in the front row, but I didn't like it at all. So I'm feeling a little different, like when I end up actually riding Goliath, or like when I actually end up reviewing it. I'm not sure. I'm going to try and base off my back row ride, because the back row ride, I was able to get plenty of airtime in it, and it was fun and everything. And then, so it was so much better than the front. And it just shows how much a ride-up can kind of ruin your day. Isn't that sad? Like, my first time at LaRonde, and the only thing that comes out of it is #seatdown. Like, I don't know. So that was LaRonde, and then we went back to America, and it was better. Sorry, Canadians. I like your country. It was kind of cool seeing like how everything was in metric and everything, and just like seeing all the differences. We didn't get any service in Canada because we we have American phone plans, and so we were only able to do stuff with Wi-Fi. So it was definitely cool being in Canada. I really liked it and everything, but I think we were all kind of ready to get back in America, especially since Quebec. There's so many people. Most people just speak French. And again, getting back to the clientele. Okay, there's this moment where I was filming a video, and these annoying girls were running in and out of the camera, dancing as I'm walking around. But the problem is that I can't see that because I wasn't like filming. I was in front of the camera, and they're behind me, running around, like, dancing and stuff. And so, I'm like, do you have no etiquette? And then again, like, as we're walking out, she comes up to me, and she's like, and I'm like, what? And she's like, English? And I'm like, yeah. And then she's like, oh, what's your channel and stuff? And I think the only reason why she wanted to know what my channel was just so that she could see herself running around in the background of this. So it was, I'm sorry, I just noticed a hashtag. Someone did #seat down in row 6. Okay, that's pretty good. That's good. Yeah. What is happening today? Did we just get 3 new memes? Where's Alec? Do you speak English? And seat down. What is happening to oh man. All right. So we got back to America. That's when we dropped Alec off. So everything from that point after I'm sorry. Waldemar. I almost forgot Waldemar. Before we dropped Alec off, we did Waldemar, and this is a park where it has a super relaxed feel. So again, you just walk in, and you're not paying for admission. You pay for whatever rides you want to do. So we got a wristband. We did Ravine Flyer several times, and it was kind of cool because this park is on Lake Erie, and no one ever thinks about that because when they think Lake Erie parks, they think Cedar Point. So this park is also on Lake Erie. It's just like 4 hours down the road, so it really shows how huge the lake is and everything. And Waldameer was kind of cool. It kind of felt like Lagoon and Beach Bend a bit, like if they had a baby. Waldameer was cool. I liked it. So after that, we dropped Alec off. So again, all the vlogs afterwards where we were talking about where's Alec. Yeah, he wasn't at any of those parks. So that's kind of where that's where the joke came in. Again, if you're just now joining, the joke came from the Over Georgia vlog in combination with the Gatlinburg mirror maze where we lost him there. So that's just kind of where the joke came in. So anyways, so after that we did Cedar Point. I love this park, as you can see by the Cedar Point map right here and the Maverick poster right there and the Valraven poster right above me. I appreciate some good Cedar Point. So we went there and we only had one day, but it was an awesome day. And guys, tomorrow's video, I'll tell you right now if you're watching this, tomorrow's video is a Cedar Point footage video, and it is one of my favorite footage videos I've ever done. Like, you guys gotta see this. Like, it's got an awesome intro, and the end was so lit because the end you have a bunch of lightning stuff. I have so many shots of video where like just lightning is coming down in the background of stuff. It is so cool. And then I got to see Luminosity for the first time, so there's tons of footage of them like doing this where they're playing this like loud music and shooting up fire, and this was all while it was raining. So they're dancing and playing this music in the pouring rain when there's fire shooting up, and then they're setting up fireworks. And so I got tons of footage of this. And the end of the video, literally guys, go please, when this video comes out tomorrow, go see it. Go watch it. It is really, like, I really am pleased with how this footage turned out. So I'm super excited for you guys to see that. That's the Cedar Point video. It's coming out tomorrow. Which I will be getting around to a lot of the Cedar Point footage, just footage videos in general after this, because I still have a lot to go through. Like I haven't gotten to posting any of the footage stuff from Cedar Point on. So we will be posting those. The thing is that I'm not going to try and post just footage video after footage video after footage video, because I think people kind of start to get burnt out of it after a while. So I'm going to try and integrate some stuff. I'll throw in like some rumor stuff. I might put in, like, sprinkle in some coaster reviews here and there for some new rides, just so that just so that you guys don't get burnt out with footage stuff. But there will be a lot more footage coming soon, just throughout the month of July, just because there's a lot to go through. So just be aware of that. And so after that, after the lit day that was Cedar Point, we did Kennywood. And like, I've been here before, and so it was cool. They hadn't had anything new since I've been there, so like we were just having fun. We did see some RMC people there, so that was kind of fun. So Kennywood was fun. Got back on Phantom's Revenge and everything. Their wooden coasters are good. And so after that, we moved on to Knoebels. And this was a park everyone had been telling me to go and like get to, just because everyone was telling me about Phoenix. Everyone was telling me about just the park atmosphere. Everyone was saying that Knoebels is just one of the greatest parks. There's a reason why it's been nominated for a Golden Ticket Award for like best park. So many people love it. And so I said, okay, really excited to go here, and it was really cool. I wish we had got more time here, but this is a neat park, guys. Like, if you get around to Knoebels, this is a really neat place. Half of the park is like gravel, and they just have so many like classic rides. It feels like a permanent fairground. It was really neat. If you saw the vlog, I wasn't as impressed with Phoenix as I had hoped I would be. The airtime was really good. One of my favorite rides there wasn't even a roller coaster. My favorite ride was the Flyers. So, as you guys know, if you guys have seen this, between me, Alec, and Adam, we love snapping Flyers. This is when you take your flying scooters, Larson flying scooters, and you throw it up and slam it down. So what happens is these cables are like this, holding on to your bird. So when you bring it up and then slam it down, the cables start kind of going like this. So the bird is kind of rocking back and forth, and you're like physically shaking the cables. and so that's called snapping. So we love snapping the flyers. Knoebels' flyers are so insane. It is ridiculous. I've never had an easier time snapping flyers. It was like, I think it was probably my favorite ride at Knoebels. And this is just a flying scooters. Like, I snap the ones at King's Dominion all the time. I mean, they don't like it. But Knoebels, they couldn't care less if you snap them. Like, snapping, it's easier depending on what set of flyers you are. Like, if it's a smaller one, like at Six Flags America or Wonderland, the flyers don't snap. And Carowinds, they have like bumpers on their flyers, so it's kind of hard to snap them. King's Dominions, you can snap, but they don't like it. Knoebels, they just go crazy. It was just one dude. It's like motorized, and he's just like, enjoy your ride. And he couldn't have cared less. I've never been so terrified on a flat ride. We're flying, like, we thought we were gonna hit trees. We like broke a branch off at one point, like, because we were like going so high up and snapping. The whole thing was shaking. It was so insane. Like, if you go to Knoebels, do not pass up the flyers. Oh my gosh, it was ridiculous. Huh. Like, and you'll see the footage that I shot of it. It was so insane. The flyers, just, man, it was so good. Been talking for like an hour and 25 minutes now. Alright, still got some more parks to go though. So, after Knoebels is Hershey. And if you guys followed Hershey, this was kind of an interesting time because what happened was my camera started acting up. And actually, I think I have my old camera. Let's see. Where is it? I can show you this. So, let's see. So here's the old camera. It broke while we were at Hershey. It was not a good situation. Actually, I can show you how it's broken. I just need to grab a battery for this. Okay, so what happens is, this is how I've been shooting all the footage. This is what happens. What the heck? That's weird. It's showing everything like normal. Is my camera not broken? Why did I just buy a new camera then? Okay, it wasn't working earlier. Did my camera just, like, survive? Why did I just buy a new camera? What the heck? Oh my gosh! My camera's working just fine! What just happened? What? It was not... Okay, I swear. My camera was... Oh my gosh. What just happened? I just spent all that money on a new camera. And the old one's working just fine? What the flip? Guys! Okay. I don't know what just happened, but it was not working for the second half of the trip. Or, like, after Hershey, I had to shoot everything with my phone. Because my phone, it shoots decent footage, but my camera was so bad. Like, it was broken. And I tried it multiple times. Are you telling me that I could have been shooting footage with this at Six Flags New England and it would have been fine? Why did I just buy a second camera? Okay, let me show you the new camera. Okay. This is the new camera. This is the old one. You can see they don't look that different because this is just a newer model of this one. So, like, they look pretty similar and everything. And they shoot the same footage. Like, they don't look any different when you show it. So I just spent like okay. I swear, when I would open the screen, it would like be all broken and stuff. Now it's showing us just fine. Okay. It's fine. I'm fine, guys. It's cool. I just spent a few $100s on a camera that I didn't need to buy. Okay, it's cool. Whatever. We're moving on. Okay. So, we're not even going to talk about Hershey. Doesn't matter. Okay. What was next? Dorney. So Dorney, it was really hot, and it was burning us up. It was really bad. But like the rides were cool. The park was kind of neat. So we had a decent time there. You know, it was not bad. It's definitely kind of one of the lower tier Cedar Fair parks, but it was kind of fun. I liked doing. I think Hydro was probably my favorite ride there. I liked Hydro a lot because it's one of the smaller parks, but it was one of the smaller floorless coasters. But it was really cool. It was a lot of fun, and we only got on Talon once because it was down the rest of the time. It was really stupid. But we actually missed out on Possess. But we were staying in Allentown, just down the road from Dorney, and so the next morning we were going to leave and go to Six Flags Great Adventure again. But instead, we said, okay, why don't we pop in at Dorney and get Possessed before we go to Great Adventure? So we run it, we get Possessed, and then we were going to do Talon again, and it was down. And so, figures a B&M was down, and an Intamin was up. Where is the logic in that? I don't know. So, we did that, and then we went to Great Adventure. Great Adventure was super chill. We had a good time. It wasn't as crowded as the first time, but it was still good. I had a good time. Like the first time we were at Great Adventure, we got 12 rides on El Toro in one day, and the second time I think we only got 2 or 3, but it was still fun. We were able to get on a lot of stuff. And actually, can I rant about something? Okay, I'm going to rant about something else. Because I don't know why. I'm just fired up right now, guys. So, okay. Story time. I'm about to rant hardcore about King Ka and El Toro. Because Six Flags Great Adventure had this great idea where they said, let's put lockers that are mandatory on it, where you can't have anything in your pockets. And this is the stupidest rule. Okay, let me put some logic in this first. So what happened was a girl got hit in the face with a phone where it like knocked out her front teeth. Some people are saying that it might have been her own phone or something, but they put in this rule on El Toro. But the problem is the way they're going about doing this. So their logic is you can't have anything in your pockets. But what has happened is that they aren't they aren't enforcing it too much. Like all they're doing is saying, yeah, you can't have anything in your pockets or anything. But then if you're in the station about to get on and they see you with your phone, then they'll call you out and send you all the way back around to put it in a locker, which, by the way, is not free. They're forcing you to buy money or spend. You can't buy money. Spend money on a locker when you don't have to. Like, I wear cargo shorts. Do you? Cargo shorts. Cargo shorts. Okay? Cargo shorts. So cargo shorts, you can have everything in there, and it is like, it's nice. So like, I don't care if the locker costs like $1. It's just the idea that they're making you spend money to ride a ride. And I think that is ridiculous because if you have cargo shorts, you don't need to. That's why I wear cargo shorts. And so, King Ka, you get in, first of all, they, like, if they see anything, like any sort of flat section that could be a phone or something, they'll ask you to squeeze. Not there. So, like, okay, so say we're gonna illustrate this. So, we're gonna move, okay, so, say that you have your phone there. So if they see where they think that you could have your phone in there, they'll ask you to put your hand here and squeeze because then you can see the phone. So at that point, they tell you that you are going to have to go and put it in a locker. And it is ridiculous because then they make you pay for it and everything. So let's say that you think you're being sly, and so you have your phone in your pocket, and they have a security guard in the queue for there watching to see if someone pulls out your phone. He calls you out, kicks you out of line, and sends you to go buy a locker. It is ridiculous. And then they have that all throughout the line. Like, they're getting everyone there to they're being super uptight about it. And some people are saying that it's like New Jersey state law. Okay, fine. I understand that's right. But why are you only having it on 2 of your rides? Why is it not there on the rest of them? Why is it only there? To me, okay, I understand if they have rules and they want to keep everyone safe. That's fine. But if you're going to do that, don't make us pay for a locker. Okay? Look, my season pass has dining, parking, admission, everything I need on it. I don't carry money with me in a park because I'm not going to spend money. I don't need to. Everything is on my pass. So, it's the dumbest thing that they are making you spend money to ride a ride when you don't have to do that on the rest of them. It is so ridiculous. I don't like carrying money with me at a park because I've seen what happens if you lose it on a ride, or like when it's stolen, that kind of thing. Like, it's just a bad situation. So that's why I only bring my pass and stuff. So it is just so stupid that they are making you pay for a locker when it is completely unnecessary. If you want to do that, then, and you are trying to enforce a rule, then there are ways to go about doing it. Yeah, some people have some parks have metal detectors, but look at Universal. So they do that, and then you can put it in a locker, and the locker is free. Okay? I'm fine with that. If you don't want me to have anything in my pockets, don't charge us for lockers. That's all I gotta say about that. So, moving on. What's next? Quasi. So, we go from Six Flags Great Adventure up to Connecticut. First of all, you have to drive through New York City, which, I mean, New York City is, I love the city, but my gosh, traffic is absolutely horrible. So, we get to Quasi. We were treated so nice there. Like, the employees are so fantastic. They are so great. And Wooden Warrior. This is a really cool ride because it's small. It is not big at all. But the airtime is great. The airtime is so awesome. It is like, just no matter what row you're in. And they'll let you stay on. Like, there was no one there, so they're just like, yeah, you can just stay on. You know, it was great. And they're like talking to us. They're having a good time. And we're riding this, getting plenty of airtime. The trains are super comfy. Everything, it was great. So, I'm a big fan of Quasi, and it's on a lake, so they have this beautiful backdrop with a beach, and they have lots of like cool, like classic rides. It was just fun, and they have this super old steel coaster. It felt super sketchy, like you're looking at it and you're like, how did this pass inspection? But it was really cool. So I like Quasi. That was neat. And then they closed early, so I think they closed at 3. So then after that, we went over to Lake Compounce, and they closed at 8. So they're about 45 minutes away. So we get to Lake Compounce, and we go straight for Boulder Dash. You know, actually, no, I didn't. I think I did Phobia first, actually. I did Phobia, and like I have Tempesto an hour away from me, so whatever. So Phobia was, you know. It doesn't do it for me, but just because I ride Tempesto a lot. And so then we did Boulder Dash. This ride is cool, guys. This is a really cool roller coaster. So I really enjoyed the airtime, the way it interacts with the terrain. It did get kind of rough at times, but it was just this is just a quality wooden roller coaster. And it's a CCI. Like, it was... It was really neat, so I like that. And then they have a boomerang, and that was it's boomerang. and they wouldn't let us on the kiddie coaster, which is really weird because they have the same kiddie coaster at Kennywood, and I don't know, they let us on that. So didn't like that was dumb, and had a bad burger at there. Like the food, I was not impressed with, but at least they had free soda, so that was good. So that's Lake Compounds, and then the big one, Six Flags New England. Woo! Six Flags New England was a great park. I really liked it. We went on a super dead day. That being said, when we got there in the morning, I swear it was like Hunger Games. It was the purge. It was all hell breaking loose. It was the gates open and everyone is running through. All the school groups, everyone is just charging towards Superman, and it was like every man for himself. So like I get in the line for Superman, and there were like switchbacks, and they had it set up where you're supposed to follow a certain line. The people were just straight up cutting everyone in order to get straight onto it, and it was so bad. I'm just like it was so bad. It it was ridiculous because you're in a queue line where you're at the head, and then everyone just straight up cuts you. It was so bad. So yeah, you could have gotten like trampled or whatever. Like it was terrible. So didn't like that, and so yeah, it was the purge. But Superman, I think the main problem there was just that you had the restraints kind of made it hard to get airtime. So that wasn't. It was good. I really did like Superman, but it was I was hoping for more airtime. So so the rest of the rides were good and everything. They have a lot of Vekomas that were just kind of bad. Wicked Cyclone though, best coaster on the trip. Like best new coaster for me. Like I'd ridden Voyage is better than Wicked Cyclone, but in terms of all the new roller coasters I got to ride, Wicked Cyclone, that's where it's at. That is just an incredible ride, non-stop start to finish. That was, it was fantastic. We got 10 rides on it. We got 9. We were gonna get 10, and then they closed the gates early. It was stupid, but so that was good. And then on our way down from Six Flags New England, we did 3 parks in one day. We did Casino Pier, Playland's Castaway Cove, and then Six Flags America, and it all out. And each one we were there for not very long at all. We were at Six Flags America for 2 hours, and we were at each boardwalk park for 1 hour. And it was just so that we could get their new coasters. Because I'd been to Casino Pier and Playland's Castaway Cove before, but I wanted to be able to hit up Gale Force and Hydrus. I liked both of them. Hydrus is so smooth and is so much fun and is like really quiet, and it's just like I could ride that thing all day. I could ride Hydrus all day. I think that's probably my favorite Gerstlauer Eurofighter. It was really good. It has like a simple layout, but man, that was good. And then Gale Force was good. It was so shaky. So that was it definitely. I was kind of hoping for better. And then Six Flags America, been there plenty of times. I was just really there for Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman was good. I actually really liked the placement of everything. So that was Coastin the Border, guys. It was a really solid trip. Like I had way more fun on this road trip than last year's. It was good. So at this point, I've kind of gone through all the parks. So I'm gonna continue streaming for about another 15 minutes. I'll close down at 10 o'clock Eastern. So at this point, if you guys have any questions, I'm totally open to answering them. Let's try and get legit ones though. So I have some saying, did you meet Thrill Central? Yeah. So I did meet Thrill Central. He was at Six Flags Great Adventure with us, and he's a cool dude. Really enjoyed talking with him. He was nice. Favorite hyper now? Behemoth is really super good. That's a really nice hyper coaster. It's smooth and has lots of airtime moments. And then when I got a backseat ride in Goliath, I mean that's like below hyper level, but man, um, that has a lot of airtime. The question is, what is my coaster count now? My coaster count right now is at 375. So 25 more to go until 400. So I am going to Florida in August. I don't know if I'm going to hit 25 coasters there. That's the thing, because there's a lot of, like, there's roller coasters there, but I don't know if there's 25 that I'd be hitting at least. Because we're not hitting every single park. Like, we're not going to do Hollywood Studios. That's half a park. That's not worth it. And then Epcot doesn't have any roller coasters. Then we're not doing Legoland or anything. So I don't know if I will. If I get close, I might be like 2 away. So I don't know. I may not. So we'll see. What would I want my 400th coaster to be? You know, if it was in Florida, I'd probably want it to be at Busch Tampa or SeaWorld, something over there. But if it's not going to be in Florida, you know, I don't know, because after Florida, I don't know what the next new park I'd get to would be. So I have no idea. And actually, this was a good, someone pointed out, I've now ridden every operating RMC in America. So obviously we have Hurler and Mean Street coming up, but as for America, all the RMCs, I've been on all of them at this point, which is crazy. I mean, Hurler will be in my backyard, so I'll definitely get on that. And then Cedar Point, I mean, that's looking pretty good next year. I mean, with Mean Streak, that's something that, you know, I'd want to get to. Sorry, I had to sneeze. Oh man, has my favorite coaster changed? You know, I don't think so. I think it's still Fury, but we'll see. That's still, you know, it's tough to say. So, do I have a new favorite park? No, I don't think so. Of the new parks that I went to, I really did like Canada's Wonderland. Really like Six Flags New England. So those are probably the of the parks that I went to, the ones that I like the best. I'd say that's probably it. Will we see a new top 15? Yeah, so what I'm doing is I'm going to wait till after I go to Florida and everything. So after Florida, I will totally release a new top 15, or by then it'll probably be a top 20. Because I just want to be able to get those Florida coasters in, because I don't know if those will make it or not. So we'll see. Let's see. There's a lot of questions. I'm just adding this to the screen. There we go. Talk a bit about Hershey. Okay, so yeah, I skipped over Hershey. The SD card story is as follows. So my camera was acting up. Apparently it's not now, but my camera, I was assuming, was broken. So what happened was that in order to get it to work again, I had to remove the battery and the SD card and put them back in. And so what happened was I went to go get a shot of Great Bear, and part of it's over water, you know, so I'm standing on like a bridge, and my camera's acting up, so I'm like, ah, crap, but I'm rushing to get a shot, so I'm taking out the battery and then the SD card, and the SD card slips through my fingers, and there's like a graded floor, so kind of think of it like, it's like, kind of looks like this, where you have the ground, and then there's like individual slits in between, so the SD card falls through one of the slits, and what I thought was into the water, and I'm like, I just shot all that Hershey footage, oh my gosh, did I just lose it all? And it landed on a footer of Great Bear, surrounded by water. It was this close to going in the water, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, it's safe, but I can't get to it. It's in a restricted area. And so we go to Lost and Found. There's this really sassy older lady there who is who's answering, who's like just taking everyone. So I'm telling her the story of what happened. She's looking at me like, yeah, like it's just being super sassy, and it was really funny. So so she goes and she puts in the order and everything, and then I get a call later from her, and again, being super sassy with me. Like, it leaves me this super sassy voicemail and basically tells me that she went swimming to get this SD card. And I don't know who actually got it. It definitely wasn't her, but it was really funny. So she was great. Really appreciated her. Again, we kind of talked about that in the Hershey vlog. So more questions. Someone's asking, when am I going? Okay, so here's to answer the questions. If you're saying, when am I going to insert whatever park here? So here's what's happening for the rest of the year. So in July, I'm going to be sticking with King's Dominion and Busch Gardens. I'm actually going to go to Busch Gardens tomorrow. So if there's anyone in the chat room, I'll be at Busch Gardens tomorrow. But I'll be sticking with King's Dominion and Busch Gardens. And then I'm going to try and I think I'm going to go to Carowinds at some point this month, because it's July now. Probably be towards the middle of July. We'll see, though. I'd like to, but I don't know. And then August, Florida's good to go. That is going to be happening. My family and I will be going. We'll be about a week there. We're tentatively planning on doing Animal Kingdom and both Fun Spot Parks, SeaWorld, Busch Gardens, and it's going to be a good time. I'm super excited. I'm going to release the official days for it once we get everything locked in. We're just trying to get everything worked out, because depending on when we go, I might be missing out on Kumba, so I'm really hoping to be able to get that in, because it's closing August 6th. So just for like maintenance, not permanently or anything, but like because I've never been to that park, I'm really hoping to get on that. So we may have to shift things up. So we don't have the official dates yet, but just hang in there. And then after that, I'm going to go back out to school. I go to school in Utah. So I'll be doing Lagoon throughout October. So I'll be able to do Frightmares there and stuff. And I'll go there in September, whatnot. And then I have some plans for October outside of Lagoon, because there's some parks that put on some pretty awesome Halloween events that I've heard some amazing things about, that I really want to go to. And I have a fall break where I have about 4 days in October when I'll be able to travel, and I could go to about 3 parks. It'd have to be 3 nearby or 3 parks that are fairly close to each other, each that do really good Halloween events, you know. So I was kind of thinking, and I'm there's plenty of options there, but it'd have to be somewhat close to Utah. Utah's in the west, and I did Vegas last time where I was able to do some stuff. So Vegas was, what's near Vegas? If you go west about 3 hours, you got Southern California. So you got what? Magic Mountain, Knott's, Universal Studios Hollywood. And so that's Hollywood Horror Nights, Knott's Scary Farm, and Fright Fest. Sounds pretty good. So, we'll see. But that would be around the 20th, like that weekend of August, or of October. It'd be a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Not set in stone, but, sounds like a pretty good way to end out the year. And I've always wanted to do those haunt events. So, we'll see. Can't make any promises, but, seems pretty possible. So, all right, we got 7 minutes left. So, what other questions we got? Some people saying go to Silverwood. Unfortunately, that's not in the books anytime soon. Go Six Flags over Texas? No, not anytime soon. Not going to Texas anytime soon. How's film school? Yeah, so I'm going to college. My major is digital media. So, doing everything with like video and stuff. So I like it. It's good stuff. I really enjoy that. So one person said, "What's their Christmas plan?" So I'll probably do Busch Gardens for their Christmas event, and so Cedar Fair is doing 3 new Winterfests, and so there's Worlds of Fun, King's Island, and Carowinds. Carowinds is definitely the closest one of those to me, so I'm thinking I want to go to Carowinds for their Winterfest, because yeah, of those Cedar Fair parks getting it, it's the closest, and I'd really like to go to Carowinds' first ever year for Winterfest. So again, not set in stone, but I'd really like to do that. That'd be nice. Um, uh, let's see. For those of you asking, like, is this coaster better than that coaster? I'm gonna do a bunch of like coaster fights and that kind of thing coming up soon. Just be patient. Wow, these comments are moving really fast. I can barely keep up with them. Holy crap. Jeez, they're moving really fast. Okay. Let's see. When's the next 5-year plan? Just hang in there. I'm gonna get through all these footage stuff pretty soon. I'd say sometime in July. And actually, the next coaster parody will be coming up in July. Something fun. July 21st, I believe, is the 2-year anniversary of the first ever parody that was released. So I'm not saying that's when the next parody would come out, but that'd be kind of cool. You know, comes out 2 years after the day that the first ever parody came out. So. We'll see, but they're definitely coming. I know what the next 8 or 9 parodies are. I'm not saying they're all from this trip, but they're probably all from this trip. I'm not saying that, but they could be. They might be. They probably are, but who knows. No, I won't say what it is, but hashtag what's in the parody is a real thing. Let's see what we got here. More comments. Oh, here we go. Play the voicemail from what the woman left to Hershey. Yeah, I could do that. Where's my phone? Oh, it's in my cargo short pocket from what I put there. Yeah, so if you're still here, the woman that was super sassy, and she left me a voicemail that was really super sarcastic when I lost my phone. So I can play the voicemail for you guys. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Sorry.
Taylor, this is Ruth from Lost and Found. Your voicemail is just as hysterical as your explanation on your SD card. Anyway, I have your SD card. Just wanted to let you know I went swimming and I swam all the way out to get it. So you can stop back Lost and Found to get it.
She was hilarious. It was great. So, she was fantastic. So again, she was super sarcastic. It was great. Sorry, that was as loud as my phone could go. So if you guys couldn't hear it too well, I apologize. That's the last. But she was great. So all right, we got 3 minutes, guys. 3 minutes. Am I going to Six Flags Great America? No, that's not anytime soon. No. And then people are asking already what my next year plans are. Man, I have not even done this year. Can we get through 2017 and then think about next year? Because man, I still we gotta do Florida planning, and then I'm with Halloween stuff. Like, come on, not even thinking about 2018 yet. But we'll get there. Let's see. The green markers on Georgia Cyclone. I'll probably do a video about that. We'll see what happens there. Oh, here we go. So what happened with Great Escape in Canopy Lake? So we were kind of tired after all those parks that we went to. So we decided to cut it out. We were kind of done after all that, and we just decided to finish after that. And hotels, we'd be staying around Great Escape, and Great Escape hotels, none of them were cheap. They were all super expensive. And if they were cheaper, then you had to be 21 or older to check in. And none of us in our group were 21 or older. And so it was super tricky. So we just said, let's just cut it. And it's not a big deal. It's not we're not really missing out on anything huge. So anyways, that's why we didn't do it. What was the worst coaster on the trip? That's a good question. LeBron's SLC was pretty bad. Time Warp at Canada's Wonderland was absolutely awful. So there were definitely some bad ones. Basically, any SLC that we did was not good. Most disappointing coaster on the trip. Oh man, I don't know. That's a tough one. I don't know. I don't know if there was anything that was like super disappointing. I'd say probably Phoenix, just because I was expecting ejector airtime and it was floater, so it wasn't quite what I was expecting. It was still good. Will I ever go to Volcano Bay? Man, I don't know. I'm not really a water park guy, but it does look super good. More hotel stories. All the hotel stories that I had, I shared earlier. So, will I make a top 10 updated worst coasters list? Maybe. I'm not sure. And let's see. Most underrated. I'd say probably Hydrus at Casino Pier. Hydrus, I think more people need to talk about. That was really good. And Mystic Timbers. I mean that's great. I mean it's not necessarily underrated, but it's super good. So, we're gonna go ahead and end it there. I've been live streaming for over 2 hours now, so I hope you guys have enjoyed this. This has been super fun. So not gonna be taking any more questions at this point. But this has been a good time. I've had a lot of fun talking about everything. So again, stay tuned for all of the footage coming out. I'm gonna have reviews, park reviews, coaster reviews, and we're not done with all these with our traveling. So we have a lot more going. So again, hope y'all enjoyed it. Make sure I want to see your "Where's Alec" memes. I want to see the "Sit Down" memes. If you have a "Do you speak English" one, all those. I'd love to see them. So thank you guys so much for joining. This has been an absolute blast. So make sure to stay tuned for more, and maybe we'll stream again sometime. So thanks, guys.